This is the Dexter Report. In-depth discussions and real conversations with true leaders making a mark in their community. Here's your host, Joe Dexter.
Hello and welcome to the Dexter Report, real conversations, true community leaders. I'm Joe Dexter. Hope you're having a great week. I hope the juice is flowing through the electrical power in your home. Man, what a week for Rockingham County residents and residents across the North Carolina region in which I live, with power out for more than 3 or 4 days. In Texas, I've got a friend there right now who's without power. It's snowing in Texas. There's snow on the ground in Texas. The temperature is in the 20s. Something is going on in this world. It's called just everyday life, right? And this is what is so important. These experiences that we go through, I'm speaking on my own behalf right now. But as you probably experienced this week, with the power going out and completely throwing your life off and putting a loop that is so important. We are creatures of habit, right? We always have this habit of continuously doing what we're doing. And when something gets knocked off the pedestal, when we just realize that the moment has changed and we have to adapt and learn, it can be so hard and challenging, but it's also rewarding. And that's what I want us to remember this week. Sometimes life is going to throw you a bone and things are going to be easy. Sometimes that circle, that continuous motion of doing what you do, there's not going to be any kink in your process. But guess what? This is life. And every once in a while, you're going to be thrown. The kink that we had here with power out for 4 days for many, some even 5 days in our area. And the beauty is we can adjust. We can depend on our community members and those around us to help. That's the beauty of it. The beauty is realizing, you know what, that board game, maybe we needed to play that as a family. Maybe we needed a couple minutes away from this thing that we call the internet. This is how powerful the internet has become, and in good ways and bad. Listen, I love the internet. My life is based off the internet when it comes to making an income, when it comes to connecting with those I feel important to do the job that I do. I need the internet. We've gone from the internet is this fun toy that, hey, I think you can send an email. Remember back in the 90s and early 2000s when HTML was a cool thing and sending an email was like this most powerful thing? We called emailing the internet. Now it is a public utility needed every single day. And like other public utilities, sometimes we take it for granted, and sometimes we take for granted what's around us because of the power of the tools we have in our hands. And sometimes they just need to be smacked right out of our hands, and we need to be reminded of these things. And that was this week for me, trying to figure out how to manage schedules when this happens, how to find out, is my daughter going to have school? Even like the little things. Oh, I don't have anything in my fridge right now and the power's out. I have an electric stove. What am I going to do to cook dinner? Guess what? There's always other options. There's ways to figure things out. We can adapt and we can overcome. And I'm glad that so many of my friends did. You could see it when we got the power back, when we got the Facebook back. We were back to chatting and enjoying life. But there's also that stern reminder that many posted about here in our community of remembering the small things, enjoying the small things. Maybe turn the power down a little bit throughout your weeks, on your weekends especially, the special time that you have with family. Embrace not having electricity flowing. That's where the power's at. We've got a great episode for you coming up this week on the Dexter Report. In-depth conversations with true community leaders. And sometimes I even get to speak to my close friends, like this episode with my dear friend Jamie Vaughan, who is on a mission. A mission to succeed in being a healthier person. Jamie is on a mission of losing over 40 pounds thus far, and he's continuing to develop his healthy lifestyle. I'll talk to Jamie about that coming up in just a bit. We'll also talk about Rock Aid, the initiative from so many people in our community to help feed hungry kids at the beginning of the pandemic. Jamie and his son Jacob were a big part of that group. We'll speak about that concert and forming initiatives in your community, and so importantly, how it is a massive, massive undertaking, but it also pays off, and why it's important for small businesses, local groups, and the like to come together to form these initiatives, because they change lives. They're changing lives to this day, these initiatives that start off as a poof in the air and end up helping so many people. Jamie will join us coming up in just a bit on the Dexter Report, real conversations with true community leaders. But first, the Dexter Report is brought to you by great supporters like you. You can support the Dexter Report with a small donation. Money given back to the podcast will go directly to expenses. Provide us with your support and we'll be forever grateful. You can help us by visiting anchor.fm/the Dexter Report/support. That's anchor.fm/the Dexter Report/support, and you can give a monthly contribution. It'll be so greatly appreciated. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your support of Joe Dexter Media. If you need help telling your story, visit joedextermedia.com. Now on to the show. Here's my good pal, Jamie Vaughan. In-depth conversations, true community leaders. This is the Dexter Report. This week, a very special guest. I get to bring in my friend Jamie Vaughan. Jamie, how you doing, buddy? You're looking a little skinnier over there.
Hey, Joe, man, I'm feeling great, doing great, losing some weight, man. I'm feeling good. I really am.
Well, for those that don't know Jamie, he's a Reidsville resident. He's involved in a lot of things going on, and he's on a new journey, a very important journey, Jamie, I would say. And it's been cool to watch your journey to lose weight and get in better shape. Tell us a little bit about what you're going through.
Well, I started by seeing a friend. You know, that's kind of how it works. You see somebody, right, and you know, you can watch TV programs and you can see commercials and all that stuff, and you can say, oh, you know, I know that person from TV. But when you see somebody for real and you know that they were bigger than you, and you see that they've lost a person, you know, you want to kind of get in on what's going on. And so that's what happened for me. And, you know, the doctors told me back in September that my kidneys weren't functioning properly, and, you know, I needed to get rid of some weight. And you know, I like to eat, man. I like food. And you know, that was kind of cramping my style. But I also couldn't hardly move. And I also, you know, I wasn't very mobile, and nothing fit right. And so when I saw this guy who is a leader as well in our community, Tommy Massey, when I saw Tommy, I said, Tommy, what's going on? How can I be a part of this? Whatever it costs, whatever it's going to take, that's what I want to do. So my journey began in December of 2020 at the greatest time of the year, right there at Christmas, where, you know, you've got all the good food and snacks and cookies and sausage balls. And man, I'm standing over here eating, you know, a bar. But I've learned to live off those bars and love those bars. And so yeah, it's been worth it. Nothing tastes better than the way I feel right now, Joe.
That's the thing that's so important. In the Dexter Report, we have in-depth conversations with community leaders. I think health is something that we kind of throw to the wayside sometimes, Jamie. I'm a big guy too. I enjoy pizza. I enjoy wings. But also we have to enjoy the greens. We have to exercise and get out there. And sometimes, especially today, man, with what's going on with COVID-19 and what's going on with us being more in our homes, it's very imperative to exercise, eat right. And the big thing is not just eating right, but creating a lifestyle that is good for you to eat right, and not just, you got to put thought into it. It's not just for me, and I'm trying to lose some pounds too and work on, more importantly, blood pressure and things like that. The thing to me is sometimes we just go on autopilot, man. Tonight's pizza, tomorrow's macaroni and cheese, and you don't actually put the effort thinking into the health plan you're putting together.
You're exactly right. I've had to put a lot of thought into meal prep, and a lot of people ask me, well, the plan that you're on, do you have to do a whole lot of meal prep? Well, basically, I'm doing one meal a day. I mean, I eat 6 times a day, but one good nutritional lean green meal a day, and so I have to put some thought into that. Like today, I'm off, and so I have I thought about it last night. I got some chicken quarters out. I'm going to smoke those later today and have them ready for supper tonight, and make a salad for my wife, and I'll have some green beans or something like that. I'm not a big veggie guy, Joe. I like green beans and mushrooms, so I've had to really learn to like things that I don't normally like. For instance, cauliflower. I didn't like cauliflower. I still really don't like cauliflower itself, but a cauliflower crust on a pizza makes a huge difference, and I can still eat pizza. So, I learn as I go, but you're right. You have to, it's more of a plan and not an autopilot kind of situation. So I'm always thinking of what's next. And I think it's good to be able to think things through and not just grab the first thing that you see.
I love the challenge too. The challenge of figuring out how you're going to handle things. It's good for your mind. Like, I got to figure out, how am I going to get 8,000 steps in today? It's dark and gloomy, but I got to do it. There's no
Yeah.
other choice. And then you're also challenged food wise. Like, how am I going to make something that doesn't taste the same as it did last week and that day and that day and that day? There
Right.
is a challenging mindset to it that actually adds just mentally to your life. And one thing, I don't know about you, Jamie, but after a walk or after just going to lift some weights, it helps my mind as a fueling to just get going in the morning. I take my walk right away, and it helps me. It helps me get moving. It helps my brain work.
Absolutely. It certainly does. And I try to get in between 8,000 and 12,000 steps a day. I've joined the local gym over at Planet Fitness in Eden. And so when it gets real cold, I do that. But my job lets me walk, 8,000 to 12,000 steps a day. So that's a good thing. But yeah, you're right. When you're doing that first thing in the morning, it clears your mind. It kind of gives you perspective for the day. Um, and so, like I said, it's been a challenge. There's been challenging points. I'm not going to say it's all been easy, but every day and every different milestone in the journey, man, it's so worth it. I mean, I'm not taking blood pressure medicine right now. They took me off of that, which is a big thing to me. And I think most importantly, I'm not doing it by myself. My wife's doing it as well, and she's kind of, we're keeping each other accountable. And so she's been taking off her diabetic medicine, and so those are big milestones. Those are what we call non-scale victories. But I think one of the biggest ones for me was to fit into a 2X shirt. That was pretty amazing to me. Um, that was where I felt like, you know what, this is really working. Not only do I feel good, but I can see some results here.
When's the last time you wore a 2X?
2X, 22 years ago, something like that.
Man.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the big part. Is Jamie Vaughan joins us here on the Dexter Report, Real Conversations, True Community Leaders. That's the big part of the aspect, is the non-scale wins. For me personally, if I keep looking at that scale and I keep weighing on that scale in my mind, nothing gets done. But
Yeah.
if you're looking at, for example, one of the goals I wrote down on my sheet that I have is, I'm 34 years old. I want to be around for my girls when they are 34.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. And that's one of my biggest, what I call a why I'm doing this, why I'm giving everything I've got to it, is because, with Jacob and Darian getting married, there may be grandkids soon, and I want to be able to get into floor and run around outside and do those kinds of things. And at my present state, I wasn't able to do that.
Jamie Vaughan joins us here at the Dexter Report, and you can find us anywhere on your favorite podcast platforms. Jamie, the other part of it too, to me, I'd like to learn a little bit more about the program that you're doing, but accountability is the number one way you can improve your health and your lifestyle, right? Accountability and holding yourself accountable. What are you doing accountability-wise to, like, I know you're not a big fan of almond milk, but you're drinking almond milk. Like, how are you doing?
Now, man, I love it now. That stuff is good. I love it now.
How are you doing that, though? How are you eating green, was it green stew I saw? Green leaf stew?
Yeah. So I have a coach that kind of pours into me on a daily basis. And that coach, it keeps me accountable, but and that's a great thing. I don't know that I could do this without a coach just kind of explaining to me, when I first started, I wanted X amount of pounds down. And when I didn't quite get to that point, my coach said, yeah, but look at it. You're losing almost 2/3 of a pound a day the way you're going. 2/3 of a pound a day. That's crazy. And so when my mindset kind of shifts or my perspective changes based on what my coach says, then things don't look so bad. And I'm encouraged. But as far as being able to eat the stuff that I'm eating, my taste buds have changed. They change all of the time. So what I don't think I like, and I try, hey, that isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Now I say that, but I have to say this: salad is a bunch of weeds, man. That's just weeds. I don't know how you can do that, and those that can, fantastic, and I appreciate you and your efforts, but. Man, it's like I went to Garfield's the other night and got a steak that I cut in half, 7 ounces, and I didn't want a side, so I got a salad. And I said to the waiter, "Man, I don't eat salad. I never have, but maybe my taste buds have changed just enough that I can get this thing down." So. I held the fork in my hand for about 20 minutes and looked at all this green stuff on the fork, and I put it in my mouth, and I was like, man, that's like going out in the yard and putting grass in your mouth. So my taste buds haven't changed that much, but they have changed tremendously. But almond milk, cauliflower crust, some of the turkey meatballs, turkey sausage, all that stuff, man, you can't get no better than that stuff. When I go into transition at some point, I'm going to keep eating cauliflower pizza crust because it tastes good to me.
And it's amazing. It's amazing too, Jamie, to see how your tastes do change. Like, I would never eat turkey sausage before. I like it now. I enjoy it a ton now. Yeah. And the flavors that are added to these things. Now, yeah, I'm like you too, Jamie. I want to go get a 7-ounce steak. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do those things. And I enjoy salad unlike you, but it's like weeds with radishes. You throw some radish in there. Weeds with some carrots, weeds with some cucumbers. But also it's just the whole aspect of understanding you can still enjoy things, and you have to have that mentality. But am I eating 4 plates of spaghetti? Maybe not.
Yeah.
But I can still enjoy the taste of tomato sauce.
Correct. That you're exactly right. And like I said, I'm at the point right now where everything that is on my plan that I eat, aside from my lean green meal, is very, very tasty. I mean, I can still eat a brownie that has Greek yogurt chips in it. It's 110 calories. I can eat that, and I can still feel like, hey, I had chocolate for dessert. I can still have a peanut butter cookie, a peanut butter milkshake with almond milk that to me, at this point in the game, tastes just like something from Cookout. So I don't feel like I'm deprived with anything. There are times that I'm weak like anybody else, but for the most part, there's been two in this journey in these past 2 months. There's been two times that I was so hungry that I was feeling like nauseous and jittery and stuff like that. Two times on a diet, it's normal because I've been on diets my whole life. But when I've changed the whole mentality, changed the whole lifestyle, two times, and what do I do when I'm hungry? What do I do when I get to that point? I always have a bag of beef jerky, and I eat a 2-inch by 2-inch square of beef jerky, and it knocks the hunger. I don't know how it does it. I don't know why, but it knocks out the hunger, and I keep going on, and I eat it the next time that I eat. I mean, it's so a lot of people don't want to change, don't want to change their lifestyle, don't want to change their eating habits because they don't want to feel hungry, and that's the whole beauty of what I'm doing is if I was hungry, man, I'd have jumped off this thing on day 2. But no, it's been a fun journey, and I love the way social media has kind of jumped on board with me, and I feel like I'm taking people with me on this journey, and this summer is going to be a fun summer. I can see it.
2 months, 40.2 pounds down. I want to break it down a little bit from the perspective of tell us where you were 2 months ago and maybe some advice for folks that were where you were in not getting out there and doing what they should do or just feeling lethargic. That's how I felt before I did what I was doing was just you come home, you work hard. Everybody works hard. You come home, you sit on the couch, you grab the potato chips, you grab the whatever, you eat whatever. Tell us where you were and some advice for folks to get away from that point.
Okay, I was in the beginning of December. I was 349 pounds, 349.2, and very lethargic. Back hurt all the time when I was walking because I still had a job to do, and I was still walking those 8,000 to 12,000 steps a day, but I had 40.2 pounds on extra than what I have today. So it was very difficult to get through the day, let alone do anything extra after that. Now I'm able to, at the end of the day, when I get off of work, I'll go to the gym or I'll go to the trail. Man, I wasn't feeling like that. And I was encouraged at the very beginning, don't do any exercise. Because if I were to tell you, Joe, in order to do this program, you've got to walk 12,000 steps a day. Well, the average person doesn't do that. So that means they're not going to do that at the weight that they're at. And so at 349 pounds, I didn't feel very mobile. I didn't feel very being able to do anything more than doing what I had to do to make a living and coming back to the house. That's all that I was planning on doing for that day. I didn't do anything outside or, I came home and sat down. So I get that. But after the first month, I was like, you know what? I feel pretty good today. I think I'm going to go walk, or I think I'm going to go do this, or I'm going to do that. And it was based on, I'm feeling better. Oh, I got a little bit more energy. Oh, I'm able to do more than I was able to do last month. And now this month, I'm able to do more than I did the month before that. So it's really, you don't want to, it's baby steps, because you don't want to just jump into any kind of a fitness routine or a plan and just jump in, because if anybody is like me, I work out and work out and work out for the first couple of days, and then it's a chore, and then I don't want to go. So guess what? I don't go.
Right.
But if I go and I do something, one thing or two things, then I'll go back tomorrow because I remember, okay, I've got to do this and this, or I've got to just do this. But getting off of the couch is better, and going to the gym for 10 minutes is better than staying on the couch. So, those are just things that I've learned in the last little bit, and realized that, with a little bit of help and a little bit of discipline, I can change my life around.
And that's the big thing too, is remembering the realistic part of it, because there's going to be days where you feel like walking 12,000 steps. And then there's going to be days like I had on Sunday, Jamie, where I walked 500 steps.
I'm with you. I get it. I totally understand. And that's the thing. I was there, and, so it's not like I'm doing something that's just so crazy and out there. And I'm, I was there, and I realized I couldn't stay there. I couldn't put a mailbox up there. I wasn't going to live there. And when I made that decision that I wasn't going to live there, that's when things started to change for me.
Just like that, just like a snap.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But if I can do this, anybody can. Because, I don't like I'm very, very picky. I don't like a lot of things that I'm learning to like, but I still have a ways to go on the picky list. I mean, man. But yeah.
I knew it was serious for you, Jamie, when you posted that you stopped drinking Mountain Dew.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
As a person that's been with you, and every time I've been with you, you've had a Mountain Dew in your hand. That was when I was like, oh yeah, Jamie's taking this seriously. And it's those adjustments that you have to make and commit to that are important. And they seem like a mountain at first, right? I'm sure as a person that also quit soda 3 years ago, I was a Mountain Dew guy, and you feel like you got to have it. And then as soon as you get past that threshold of feeling the need for it, like 2 weeks or whatever the time is for you, you don't think about it anymore. So these thresholds that are in your mind, that's the big part to me. And I want to ask you about mindset is a big part of being healthy and getting healthy. For you, are you a guy that writes down goals? I'm a goal guy, and it's not like I'm writing down must lose 200 pounds in the next 200 days. It's more like this goal is do everything possible to be healthy for my kids and my wife.
Right. I'm with you. And I do write goals down, but right now my goals are different. My ultimate goal is to be around and to be healthy for my family. That's my big, that's the big goal. But I've got short-term goals. I met one of those goals and surpassed that goal the other day. One of my goals, and this is going to sound funny and this is going to sound crazy, but for the past 5 years, I've not been able to sit in a booth in a restaurant. I can't sit in a booth. I was sitting in a chair. So my wife and my daughter wanted to go to Texas Roadhouse for dinner, and I looked on their menu and I saw some things that I could get, and I said, okay, this is going to be the challenge. They have the smallest booth, and I'm going to see if this is one of my goals. And man, I slid in there and it was still room. I was like, man, this is amazing. This is just crazy. It sounds crazy to some people, but man, it was a goal of mine. I didn't want to sit in a chair in a table. I want to sit in a booth like everybody else.
And as a big guy, I can feel you on that one. Like when you have those moments where, for me, I started a journey. My mom came to town and she helped me. And so we started going on 2-mile walks every day for 40 days straight. Wow. And for me, one of the goals and one of the things that those little accomplishments, I'm a wrestler, Jamie. You know that I was an athlete. Right. I couldn't run, Jamie. I could not run.
I'm with you.
And so when I started doing this 2 mile journey, one of those milestones was at one point in time, probably about 15 days in, I started sprinting the hills.
Yeah.
And I'm still I'm not Michael Jordaning those hills. I'm not doing anything crazy, but for me, it's that little win that you feel. My legs can move. I can still do it. Those are the little wins that matter, not the paper. The paper's great, and you do need those written down goals. But like you're talking about, sliding into a booth, putting on that 2XL shirt, wearing a shirt that you love that you haven't been able to wear.
Yep.
Just looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing a change. But for me too, the big part of the healthy lifestyle is, and everybody defines their healthy lifestyle differently, but being able to look yourself in the mirror and be happy with yourself. Because I don't know about you, and I'm not going to speak for you, but
right.
When I'm not doing what I need to be doing, I'm not happy with myself. I'm not productive the way I should be, and
right.
I don't feel right about who Joe Dexter is.
That's exactly right. You're exactly right. And when you get, I feel like everybody gets to a point when they're there, what you're talking about, when they're at that point, and they realize, hey, this isn't me. A change has to happen. Some kind of a change, whether it's a mental shift, a perspective change, an outlook change, whatever it is, something's got to shift because you know who you are, and that's that for me, when I came to that point of realizing, hey, it's now or never. Here's the time, and I kicked Mountain Dew to the curb. I did that, and I see Mountain Dew in the store. If I stop at a store or a gas station and I see it, I'm not tempted at all, because I remember and I look and I see what it did to me. And when I look back at what it has done to me, I mean, I didn't drink one a day, Joe. I drank a 2 liter, almost 2 liters a day.
Wow.
I mean, it wasn't just one. So, up until December the 9th, I hadn't drank water in probably 5 or 6 or 7 years. I mean, a glass of water. I just didn't do it because I had Mountain Dew. I mean, so yeah, it's definitely when you get to that point and your mind changes and your perspective changes, nothing can stop you at that point.
And while I believe, and maybe you believe differently, you can't have anybody else convince you that you need to do this. It has to be yourself.
No, it does.
A key part of it is having conversations like we are, Jamie, with friends, and having somebody alongside you that can help you, like your wife Jennifer is doing. You got to have that.
Man, I don't, I've done a lot of posting and sharing about my journey and trying to get folks to come on and let me help them the way that I've been helped. But I don't say this enough, but if it wasn't for Jennifer, I'd have been done a while ago. I mean, really, she's really been the driving force as to, do you have your bars before you leave for work? Do you have this? Do you have your water bottle? And I've got a jug of water that I drink every day. It's a gallon. And it's got markings on it. You can get them from Amazon for like $10-15, and it's got markings on them, and it keeps me accountable with my water every day. So I've got to drink so much by 7 o'clock, so much by 9 o'clock, so much by, and it just goes all the way down to, till I'm done with it. And I try to get a gallon in 10 hours, but I'm going to tell you, I'm off to the races a lot of times to the restroom because it's a lot of water.
With your change, and you mentioned trails, I know you like Cinque Pen here in our community.
Yeah.
How has this kind of opened up your mind to how important these recreational facilities are in our community for growth and for health?
Man, Cinque Pen is the only one that I have been on. So I'm speaking just from that angle, but the way they have that place set up and the way people freely go and come, man, right now in this time of pandemic, being able to get outside and fresh air and kind of clear your mind. I remember when I was on a diet maybe 10 or 12 years ago, and I remember that there was nobody at that trail. I mean, that trail, I was the only car there. And I went twice a day, once in the morning and then after dinner in the evening in the summertime. And that trail was nice, and I always liked it, but nobody was ever there. Man, now you can barely find a parking spot.
I know, it's crazy.
I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, I think it's a great thing that people are taking advantage of, number one, being outside, number two, getting a little bit of exercise and enjoying their pet. You know, you see pets everywhere, and man, I just think it's a great thing, and I think for our community to have those things, it's going to draw people to our community because let's face it, everybody wants to be healthy. I mean, whether they are or not, deep down in, everybody wants to be healthy. And to have different things in our community, the Wentworth track is opening up. I saw that the other day over in Wentworth, that little town park. All of those things are going to draw people to our community because, you know, it's something to do. And if you remember, like I do last March, man, you couldn't go anywhere or do anything.
Nope.
You couldn't, you know, and so the only thing that we could do was go outside and walk in different parks and things. And I was going to Burlington and finding parks out there. And I said, you know what? There's parks here. We need to, use what we've got. And so yeah, I'm an advocate on that. I really want to see these things grow our communities because trails like Chinquapin, man, I mean, it's safe. It's challenging. It's a fun walk. You see something new every time you walk it. So, I think it's great. I really do.
One thing I suggest too is start on those walking trails, start in those places. Because if you're like me, Jamie, no, I don't want to go to the gym because 5 people are going to watch this fat guy try and walk on the treadmill.
Right,
right. So you can start on these beautiful places like Chinquapin. We have so many in our community, and you can look online and find where these trails are. Like for me, JC Park in Reidsville, it's right down the road. It's a 2-mile trek. I get in my car, I come back to my apartment, and it's a beautiful thing. I think having amenities like Chinquapin that's so beautiful too, when you first get out there, you're like, okay, we have some real facilities that I can use, and it's exciting to go back. Chinquapin is going to look the same, quote unquote, but it's still a different experience every time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And so, yeah, I would really encourage people to take advantage of those things that don't cost anything. And spend, 35, 40 minutes, an hour out there just enjoying yourself. I mean, now more than ever, physical health is so important, but man, mental health, man, I'm seeing people all the time that are just having a hard time mentally. And I really think it stems from the pandemic. I really do.
And just being able to escape at that trail for 20, 30 minutes or an hour is a big help. It really is. So I definitely encourage that. I want to talk about our great initiative, Rock Aid. Remember, man, that seems so long ago, doesn't it?
It seems like forever ago, Joe. But man, that was a special night, man. That was pretty awesome.
For those that don't know, Jamie is the father of Jacob Vaughan, and they've worked so hard for years now. How long going back how old was Jacob when you guys first started playing gigs?
Jacob was 15. We started at 15. February 14th, it was a Valentine's night of 2014 or 15, 2015. So we're coming up on 6 years right now.
And it's crazy. So this pandemic hits. and I'm talking, and Jacob, your son, and we're all talking, and he's got this great opportunity. I write a story about the bluebird.
Yeah.
The bluebird, folks.
We're going
Jacob
to Nashville and all that. Yeah,
he's got a chance to play, and he's got a chance to perform at this great facility, and then all of a sudden, just like that, it's taken away from him. And literally, your son is the motivation, and you talking to me about it is the motivation that led to this great concert that we had called Rock Aid, where we raised $20,000 to help feed hungry kids right here in Rockingham County. So you can it's another story to me, Jamie. You can take a negative and turn it to a positive. I know it's not going to be the same experience for Jacob. And folks, if you haven't heard Jacob, you got to go find him on social media platforms. But at least he gets a chance to virtually perform for Bluebird coming up here shortly. I just wanted to ask, as a father being part of that, what it was like being part of Rock Aid and seeing this whole develop. Even times we're in a situation where it looks like everything's going to be grim. Your son was a huge part, and you were a huge part in putting this thing together.
Well, we were so excited about March and April in February, because things were starting to finally move. The wheels were starting to turn. We were starting to meet people. Things were starting to take off, per se. So we felt like we were gaining a lot of momentum. And then COVID hit and pulled the plug on it all. And we like to do. We don't like to talk about. We want to do. And so Jacob and I got to talking. What are we going to do now? I mean, restaurants are closing. You can't sit inside. You can't do this. You can't do that. I can't play. What do we do now? How am I going to make a living? How am I going to make an income? Because I'm getting ready to get married. How am I going to do that? And thankfully, he thought back to his raising and went out and got a full-time job. But it still didn't fulfill his music. It didn't fill that hole that music fills. So although he's making a living, that was difficult. Knowing in the back of your mind, I've been asked to visit Music Row. I've been asked to talk to a couple publishers, and now it's all gone. So that was kind of what I would call. To a young guy, I would call that pretty devastating, that your dreams are just like boom. But we decided something else. And Jacob said, man, we need to do a concert, Dad. We need to do a concert to raise money for something. We need to and get some of the artists that I know and maybe some other ones of different genres, and just do something for our community, because everybody's hurting. And now I'm making a little bit of money, but I still like to play music, and I still want to be a part of something. What do you think? And so that's when I came to you, Joe, and said, this is what we're thinking. We'd love to do something on a large scale, but I don't see it this year. What do you think we can do? And, you took it on to the North Carolina education and Rockingham County education and the fine arts and we found who we wanted, who was being impacted the most through this pandemic. And at the end of the day, Jacob would look at me and say, Dad, although I was devastated, I can't imagine not being able to eat and not being able to go to the refrigerator. And so that was, man, it seems like forever ago, but it was one of the most rewarding experiences that he and I have been a part of together in a very long time. We have teamed up together to book shows and do shows and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to reaching out to the community and father and son getting their hands dirty on this thing, it was pretty awesome. And it is definitely been something that should make this community very proud.
I tell people all the time, send that text message talk to that person that if you have an idea. If Jamie doesn't send the message on Facebook Messenger to me, I never think about how can we help musicians. And if I don't think about how we can help musicians because of Jacob and Jamie, then Jenny Edwards at the Education Foundation doesn't get people involved. It's a rabbit hole. You got to keep going through. And if you have some ideas, share it with others because it can lead to other things. And we were able to do what we did. I'll never forget that night, Jamie. For the rest of my life, I will never forget Jacob performing one of these days. That will live with me forever. And as you know, I'm Jacob's #1 fan. So
right.
But still, those moments where we were able to help pay artists and they were able to do what they're very good at, and it went to help kids in need. It's just those are the initiatives that we need more of. And I just think that if you have an opportunity or an idea, don't hold on to it. Share it. Get it out there and work with those in your community, because that's how we make communities better.
Absolutely. If you got an idea, most of my ideas are what I would call dumb. But at the same time, you don't know who's going to refine that idea and who's going to take that idea just a little bit further until, was Rock Aid, was that something that was in my mind? Absolutely not.
Nope.
I wanted to help these young guys and girls that were trying to make a living at music and not being able to play anymore. And I just wanted to create some kind of a venue for them to be able to play at. And, and Joe said, well, let's do this and let's do a cause. Let's raise money for children in need. Man, that wasn't the first thing on my mind. So if you got an idea, there's no such thing as a dumb question or a dumb idea.
Your dumb idea and my dumb idea might be a smart idea together. You never know.
You never know.
Trust me, I got plenty of dumb ideas that people have made smarter just because I shared my dumb idea. So don't worry about if you're somebody in your community looking to make something happen. Don't worry if your idea sounds a little silly or it sounds a little crazy. It can be refined and it can be talked about. It's something, especially if it's a community initiative, because at the end of the day, the ideas are ideas. The whole goal is to help people and help build your community stronger. So the idea might be stupid, but it's also powerful. It might be silly, but it's also powerful. And heck, you might think you're silly when you're actually dead accurate on.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. Absolutely.
He's Jamie Vaughan on the Dexter Report, Real Conversations, True Community Leaders. Before we let you out of here, Jamie, I got to ask you, how can we follow your journey? How can we keep up to date with you? And then how can we join you on your journey?
So you follow me on Facebook. That's where most of my stuff is. Just facebook.com/Jamie Vaughan, JamieVaughan. So I'm doing everything on that page to cut down on confusion and stuff like that. So you'll see my everyday life and what I'm doing, something maybe what I'm eating. But man, I'd love for you guys to join along and just follow me. And you may get to the point where you say, you know what, I'm interested in what you're doing. Can you help me? And I would be glad to talk with you and see if we could come up with a wellness plan to fit your needs and your dreams and goals. But right now, if you guys would just follow facebook.com/Jamie Vaughan, or you can just search me out on the search bar. We've got a lot of community there, people asking questions, commenting. The support's been awesome, and it's keeping me going.
My friend Jamie Vaughan joining us here on the Dexter Report, Real Conversations, True Community Leaders. Jamie, thanks again for stopping by.
Joe, it's been an honor, buddy. Thank you.
He's Jamie Vaughan right here in Reidsville. So proud of my friend, the mission that he is on to become healthy. But not only that, he's looking to help others in their missions as well. And sometimes we just need a friend to realize there is a mission. I've been there before. I'm there right now. Sometimes you wait a little too long like I have. Unfortunately, I am on hypertension support through my insurance company because I waited too long to get healthy. Now, I'm making presence known, and I'm making a way so that I don't have to get on medication. I'm exercising every day. I'm getting back to the point where I need to be. Eating more greens. The greens, man, it's the tough part, isn't it? The greens, golly, man, they kill me. The carrots that are raw. Oh, I like carrots, but do I want carrots when there's a potato chip right there? Yes, I do now, simply because, like anything in life, if you make it a mission to become healthier, it's easier to become healthier. All I had to do was say, at 34, I want to be around for my daughters when they're 17, when they're 27, when they're 37. If I continued on the path that I was on, and it wasn't a terrible path, I wasn't the worst eater in the world. I just didn't make the right decisions all the time. But that mission right there, that's powerful enough to keep me going, to keep me from getting on medication, to keep me from not being healthy. I always used to use the excuse at the newspaper, well, I sit at a desk all day. I sit there all day. That's my job. I can't exercise. You can carve the time, because you have to carve the time. Even if it's raining, it's snowing, the power's out, we got to find ways to remain healthy. It's the paramount part of our lives if we want to move forward and be the best versions of ourselves and be there for the ones that count on us. Not just count on us, that want us in their lives. That's what it's all about, and why healthy living is so imperative to true community building. It seems like a silly thing, right? Like, we don't need it. We need it not just at the level of folks like you and I that can afford it, that have the means to put dinner on the table. It's important to those that don't have that access. Not only do we have to work at providing food for others in need, we have to work at providing food that fuels others in need. Not Nabisco, not shredded wheat. Well, shredded wheat's good. I mean, shredded wheat's okay. Not processed stuff, not easy canned goods. Organic fuel to help these folks. We all need it. We all need a healthier lifestyle, and we all should work towards having that healthier outcome. And I appreciate everybody for listening this week. Let me help you tell your story. Visit joedextermedia.com for more details on how I can help you, whether that's a live stream, a podcast. Are you looking for the specific equipment to create your social media presence? I can help you with that. All you got to do is visit joedextermedia.com to contact me on Facebook, facebook.com/Dexter Media Solutions. And coming up next week, we're going to talk more community discussion on the Dexter Report, in-depth conversations, true community leaders right here on this show. We'll talk education. That's coming up next week, right here on the Dexter Report. Have a great week. Enjoy the power. And remember, no matter how many electrical lines are down, the juice is still in your hands. Have a great week, everybody. This is the Dexter Report.
Thanks for listening to the Dexter Report. To learn more about our community and how Dexter Media can assist telling your story, visit facebook.com/Dexter Media Solutions.